Back to school season has a way of bringing sensory struggles front and center. Suddenly your child is dealing with louder classrooms, unfamiliar routines, new expectations, crowded hallways, different smells, scratchy clothes, and constant transitions. For a nervous system that already has a hard time filtering and organizing, all of that input can quickly become way too much. That overwhelm may show up as meltdowns before school, covering their ears in loud environments, avoiding certain clothes or foods, struggling with transitions, or just completely falling apart once they get home. What can look like a behavior problem on the outside may actually be a nervous system working overtime just to keep up. Sensory processing challenges are more common than most parents realize, affecting as many as 1 in 6 children. Yet despite how common these struggles are, they can still be misunderstood, they can be overlooked or brushed aside. Parents may be told their child is simply sensitive, or that they'll eventually grow out of it, when what they're seeing may be a child who is genuinely struggling to regulate and adapt to the world around them. It's also important to understand that sensory processing challenges and autism are not the same thing. They can certainly occur together, but a child does not have to be autistic to struggle with sensory processing. Many of these kids may be doing completely age-appropriate things in one area while having a much harder time with noise, with touch, movement, transitions, clothing, food textures, or busy environments. That can make sensory challenges especially confusing for parents because their child may seem perfectly capable one moment and then completely overwhelmed the next. So what can sensory processing challenges actually look like in everyday life? You may have a child who is extremely sensitive to certain clothes, tags, seams, textures, smells, lights, or sounds. Maybe they cover their ears when the vacuum turns on, or they panic when they hear a hand dryer in a public restroom. They refuse foods because of the texture, or they hate having their hair brushed or struggle with haircuts or teeth brushing, or they become uncomfortable with hugs and physical touch. Now, other kids seem to go in the actual opposite direction and constantly search for more sensory input. They may touch everything, crash into furniture, wrestle, jump, spin, climb, chew on things, or play much more roughly than other kids around them. It can seem like their body is always looking for more information. Sensory challenges can also affect coordination and movement. So things like buttoning clothes, using utensils, handwriting, running, jumping, riding a bike, or learning a new physical skill may feel harder than expected. Some children trip frequently, they bump into walls or other people, or they seem unusually clumsy because they have a harder time sensing exactly where their body is in space. Then there are the regulation challenges that can easily get mistaken as just bad behavior. Crowded restaurants, birthday parties, school assemblies, grocery stores, or busy playgrounds, they may feel completely overwhelming. Transitions can trigger meltdowns, and even a small change in plans can suddenly feel enormous. Your child may struggle to calm themselves once they become upset, seem constantly on the go, or move in the opposite direction and just completely shut down. Sensory processing can affect sleep and attention as well. Some kids have trouble settling at night because their nervous system never seems to fully quiet down. Others have difficulty focusing because they're noticing every sound, every movement, every light, and every sensation around them. You may even see repetitive movements or behaviors that help them feel more organized or more regulated. When you put all of these pieces together, it becomes clear that sensory processing is about much more than simply disliking loud noises or being picky about clothing. So to understand why these things happen, we have to look at what the nervous system is actually doing. Sensory processing is essentially a constant conversation between the body, the brain, and the environment. First, sensory information has to come into the nervous system. Your child's brain is constantly receiving information from the world around them through sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, movement, and balance. And then at the same time, it is receiving information from inside the body, including where the body is in space, what the muscles in the joints are doing, and what is happening internally. Once that information comes in, the brain has to interpret it and then has to decide what deserves attention and what can safely fade into the background. Think about a child sitting in a classroom. There may be an air conditioner running, another child tapping a pencil, chairs moving, there's fluorescent lights overhead, clothing touching their skin, and a teacher giving instruction at the front of the room. A well-regulated nervous system is constantly sorting through those sensations so the child can focus on what matters most. After the brain interprets that information, the nervous system sends signals back out telling the body how to respond. The challenge begins when that communication process becomes disorganized or inefficient. If the brain has difficulty accurately sorting and interpreting incoming sensory information, something harmless can feel threatening. Something small can feel enormous, and the response may look completely out of proportion to what is happening around the child. That's why what looks like a behavior problem may actually be a communication and regulation problem within the nervous system. At E320 Chiropractic, we talk about this in terms of nervous system efficiency and organization. So when the nervous system is stuck in a state of stress and isn't communicating and adapting as efficiently as it should, sensory information may become harder for the brain and the body to organize. Once you understand that connection, many of the behaviors parents have been trying to make sense of begin to look very different. The meltdown in the grocery store may not be about getting their way. Refusing to wear a certain shirt may not be stubbornness. Constantly crashing, spinning, or moving may not simply mean your child just can't sit still. Those behaviors may be their nervous system's way of responding to, avoiding, or searching for sensory information. And this is one of the reasons families can have such a difficult time getting clear answers. Traditional evaluations are often looking for a diagnosis, developmental delay, or specific symptoms. Occupational therapy and physical therapy, they can be incredibly valuable for helping children build skills, navigate sensory challenges, and function more comfortably in everyday life. But we also believe there's another important question to ask. How well is the nervous system itself regulating, adapting, and communicating? That is where our neurological insight scans come in. So at E320 Chiropractic, these scans, they allow us to take a closer look at patterns in how your child's nervous system is functioning and adapting to stress. They give our doctors objective information that can help us identify areas of nervous system dysregulation and then better understand how those patterns may relate to the challenges that you're seeing at home, at school, and then just in everyday life. For many families, this comes after months or even years of occupational therapy, sensory strategies, carefully planned routines, modified environments, and doing everything possible to help their child feel comfortable. Those tools absolutely have value. But if you feel like your entire family's day still revolves around preventing the next meltdown, avoiding the next trigger, or making sure everything is just right for your child to get through it, there may be another piece worth exploring. Through neurologically focused chiropractic care, Our goal at E320 Chiropractic is to support a nervous system that can become more adaptable and better able to handle the sensory input life brings every single day. Ultimately, we don't just want your child to become better at avoiding everything that overwhelms them. We want to support their ability to adapt when the environment is loud, when plans change, when transitions happen, and life doesn't go exactly as expected. If sensory challenges are affecting your child's school day, your routines at home, or your entire family's quality of life, we'd love to help you take the next step. You can visit our website, you can send us a direct message, or give our office a call to learn more about our neurological insight scans and schedule an evaluation.